And I can remember when I was young on the path, oftentimes I would ask my teacher, is it this way or is it that way? And often he'd say yes. Yes. Yes, because being human, it's a complicated ordeal, and we might need one teaching one day and a different teaching another day. So I'll just paint a picture here of a typical Monday afternoon. I run to jiu-jitsu on my lunch break, and I'm happy because I see a young fella who's my size, because a lot of times the people I roll with are, sometimes 20, 40, 50, 100 pounds heavier than me, and it's just nice. It's nice when you find someone your own size. It's also nice if you're the same age as you and the same kind of belt level. But anyways, I'm with this young buck, and he's trying to kill me. I'm trying to kill him. Like that's the sport. That's the game. Basically, you win by choking the other guy out, or you bend their arm in a way where it's not supposed to bend that way, and so you tap real quick, and then they win that round or whatever. So you get the idea. So I'm going hard with this guy. And he's getting me, I'm getting him, we're going back and forth, we're kind of trading blows, and I'm on the attack, and he turns around really quickly. I tend to move more like a turtle, and when you're with the young guys, they tend to move really quickly just because they're young. And so he moves real quick trying to escape, and he comes around with an elbow up, and it just clocks me under the chin. And I stop for a moment, a little bit stunned, because in jiu-jitsu it's really wrestling and submissions, but we're not punching each other, okay? But anyways, he accidentally elbows me, and it happens. So he clocks me under the chin, and I stop. I stop because I have a head injury, and I have like multiple head injuries. I've had a lot of head injuries. Doctor's like, don't do jiu-jitsu, don't get on a skateboard, don't get on a snowboard, don't get on a mountain bike, don't get on anything that moves quickly. You can't take any more hits to the head. But he hits me, and I just get a little stunned. It's also a Kundalini thing. It's a spiritual awakening thing. We don't do good with getting hit in the head. So I just sit there and I tell the guy just like, hey man, like just give me a minute. And my professor, that's like a sensei, the teacher, the instructor, he looks over at me and he says, stop being such a wuss. And I'm like, damn man. But I smile, I respect him. He's 12, maybe 15 years younger than me. He's a cage fighter, so he has a different type of consciousness than I do. But he tells me, don't be such a wuss, Craig. And I have a little bit of a name at the gym, for being injured a lot. I've been injured the last 6 months again, wrestling with sometimes a young guy and I'm coming off a 6 month shoulder injury. Anyways, I've got a whole long list of injuries, and so my professor says, don't be such a wuss. Now, my Zen training tells me that words, that speech, that behaviors, that all of life is impersonal. Everything is empty. It's empty. And with this teaching, it's a beautiful teaching when you know this, when you experience it. Someone can call you a wuss or tell you to eat a bag of, and you can just smile and just know from a place of compassion that this other human being has a different consciousness than you, a different orientation. I'm choosing to hang out with cage fighters, and so You know, maybe there's some midlife crisis energy in there, like, you know, who knows? But from a place of compassion and from a place of clarity, we can see that the thoughts and the words that come at us are inherently empty. Inherently empty. And if anything, you know, my teacher, my professor is confused in his orientation. I could say that. I could also say he's teaching me to be tough, you know, and so with compassion, it's beautiful. You can take a backward step and see, okay, all of life is your teacher. Also, all of life is empty. And so I don't need to worry. I don't need to take this personally. I can breathe, I can feel, I can soften, I can smile, I can acknowledge the context that I'm in and seeing this is the kind of treatment you're going to get, you know, hanging out with these type of guys. And also, you know, it's like, come on, I need it to some degree. I need it to some degree. I'm on the computer all day long, and it's good for me to get out and just like really run some things out. Now, the egoic perspective is, hey, this isn't fair. That's not kind. It's not sweet. You are not honoring my innate divinity. You know, like I could go on and on with this type of thing. But there's just a clarity here of, you know, someone said something. If I take it personally, I can get hurt. I can have my feelings hurt. But of course, as a yogi, as a Buddha, we're not so concerned about how our feelings are feeling. What we're concerned about is our spiritual depth. And so from one perspective, we let it roll off our back. No big deal. No big deal. Now, of course, if you are in a intimate relationship with someone, you know, a friend or family member, boss, whatever, you know, romantic relationship, and you're with someone who talks down to you on the daily, well, ultimately, that's probably not going to work. It's probably not going to be healthy, and eventually it becomes toxic. But whatever, I can forgive my friend, and I'm not going to worry about it. Everything that comes to us, everything, when we look from the eyes of the Buddha, from the eyes of Buddha nature, we can see that this whole world is inherently empty. There's no meaning, good or bad, to whatever comes. And when we live in a place of fearless freedom and depth, it's very easy to see the world from this perspective. Before we realize this great truth, we tend to look out at life and everything has meaning. The way someone looks at us has meaning. We project our father, our mother onto the world, onto life, onto God. And we're busy getting hurt all the time. All the time. And if that's us, you know, well, we might benefit from some therapy, some counseling support. We might benefit from some embodiment work. We might benefit from a mindfulness meditation retreat or something like this to show us that there's another possibility. Another possibility.